Hello and welcome to the Taylor Trades option channel. Today I'm going to do a run through of how I set up for a bull put spread using the Market Chameleon scanner. I find this a great tool to give me confidence in my execution, but it also keeps me accountable to my trading rules. So first off, we have about 77,000 different bull put spreads to choose from. So really, obviously, we want to narrow that down to a handful. There's many ways we can go about doing this. The first thing that's most important to me is theoretical edge, and having an edge in the market is if you want to make money, that's where you need to start. Just because it's Apple doesn't mean it has a theoretical edge, is what I've learnt. So first of all, I want to make sure that I have at least 15% theoretical edge when I put these trades on. And all the theoretical edge is it compares the previous year's value of that spread and gives you a theoretical value looking at the historical distribution, and then compares that with the actual market price. And all it is really is if it's a 10% theoretical, a 10% theo edge, that just means that the market price is 10% more than what the theoretical value should be. So theoretical edge is obviously important, but also the theoretical win rate as well. So ideally I'd like this to be quite high. Normally I go for about the 70%, and again that starts to narrow down this big 77,000 entries down to about 3,000 odd entries. Moneyness, we can choose to have the spread in or out of the money. If we look over here where it says put spread details, we can see the deltas, the buy and the sell deltas, and also the expiration as well. And this is where our strikes are going to be. Bid ask spread is also important. It filters out those stocks that have low liquidity. Obviously, we want to avoid slippage. We don't want to be losing money before we even enter the trade. It's a perpetual nibbling duck at your portfolio, so you want to keep this as low as possible. Again, anything under 10, this is going to really start to bring this number down. So we're down to 445 entries. Moving on, days to expiration. I normally go with 30 to 60 days. As we know, theta decay happens most around this time frame, around about 45 days. If you're looking to avoid dividends and also earnings, you can add these add these tabs in to filter out anything with dividends or earnings or a company event as well. There's a few other little tabs to go through. If you wanted to be more diversified and only look at certain types of sectors or industries, again you can click on the sector tab and filter through. This is also another good little one. I do like to look at stocks that have a big market cap, but also a large stock volume as well. But most importantly, a high average option volume. Once I've filtered through that, I mean normally it's the highest end of most of these. So anything over 10,000 is a must. Stock ideas, so we could either click on the market leaders, laggers, or momentum stocks. Sometimes I click market leaders just to see what pops up. This gives you a good description of exactly what a market leader is. Moving forward, the option order flow sentiment. Basically that just gives you what are the other option traders doing and what is the sentiment around that particular stock. So we can go to increasingly bullish, or shift from bearish to bullish, or just simply bullish. Another good little one is the moving average indicators. So this just throws up some of the well common used names around stocks. If they're in an uptrend, a bullish crossover, bearish crossovers, you can filter through these. What I find though really is that if it's got a good theoretical edge, it's going to probably be moving in the right direction. I don't necessarily just go for an uptrend, but let's just click on it and see what pops up. It does narrow it down. Mainly these are all SPY, and what we can do is maybe skip to the end because most of these are going to be SPY. Yep, there's Qs as well, Coca-Cola's in there, and as we move forward we'll probably just have all the Qs that are left. So I don't normally just go for one moving indicator. I do have a little bit of a play around with this. Moving on, this is just a bit more around the distribution. I do tend to ignore this. The only other thing that I do put into analysis is this. You can look at 2 years, 4 years, or 6 years of analysis. So let's go back to the start. We're going to look at this summary. So basically this is telling me that this is the stock price, market cap. This is the market price for this put spread, which is selling the 359 strike and buying the 355. These are the deltas. And then I click on analysis. This then tells me that over the last 6 years, holding this put spread for 24 days, there's 31 total observations excluding earnings period. Obviously with SPY there is no earnings. Out of those 31 total observations, 4 of these have been below our long strike, 2 have been in between our short strike and our long strike, and 25% or 81%, this has been a 100% winner. And as you can look, there's a lot of zeros on that right hand column, and then there's the odd loss as well. So if I close this, maximum loss for this trade, downside cushion, and if the return if the stock stayed flat. Again, you can filter through all of this if you wanted to have a better, if the stock returned flat, you could be 100% winner, etc, etc. So I want to just go through a few other bits and then I'll get into an example. If we look at technicals, again, we can look and scan for different technicals. We can also look at historical distribution and go for the more observations and look at it that way. And this just basically tells us that over 24 holding days, there's been 31 observations and 80% of them have been positive, and the other 20% have, or just under 20%, has been negative. The average move is 2.9% higher. And to be honest, I quite like this setup actually. If we come back to the start, if we want to narrow this down even further and just look at the best trades or the best theoretical edge for that stock, what we can do is show best only and then just go best theoretical edge or win rate, and it will scan it all. So really we have 6 of these ticker symbols, and they are the best theoretical edges per ticker symbol. So I'd like to go through a trade that I did a little while back. It was in, this was last week actually, with SPG. I don't think we're going to be able to find it in here. I'm just going to type SPG. I might have to change these parameters around because they would have changed by now, and it might not be as favorable as it was the other week. Let's just take these off. So SPG, it was a stock that I come across. I have my own preset, so in my own standard put spread, it uploads all my preferences anyway, so I don't have to do it each time. Going through market price, theoretical value, I like the look at the trade, but looking at the chart, when I looked at the chart, as you can see, there's this really significant support line, which was sitting around the $60 mark. It hit it here once, it was very close to it a couple of times, it hit it again, second time, and then a third time. And I got in around on the 5th of November, and I looked to sell 2 put spreads at the $60 mark. However, earnings was looming, but I felt pretty confident with my setup. With the put spread screener, it accounts for earnings, so it only shows earnings. If it's going to be going through earnings, it'll only show those observations that have earnings over those last 6 years, which is 24. Obviously 4 times a year, 4 times 6 equals 24. So 24 observations. It was looking very positive. Now I got into it on the 5th. It was earnings a few days later, but it had this big move up the day before earnings, and it actually made me get out of the trade. For one I sold back for $9, the other one I sold back for about $10. it was pretty much 95% winners. So rather than actually hold it through expiration, I pretty much came out the following day, and for pretty much 100% winners. There was no point in my eyes to let it run through, just in case we had this big reversal and then we breached through this spread. So that was my run through of how I look at setting up bull put spreads. If you want more information, I'll put a link to the Market Chameleon in the description below. Feel free to comment if you like, and subscribe. That would be awesome. But I hope this brings value to yourself and your trading, and I wish you all the best, and I hope to hear from you soon. Thank you very much.